Good morning, this is Miss Moraski, and today we're going to examine a method for annotation. Text annotation is marking and writing on a text, whether digitally or using an actual pen, pencil, highlighter. And the point of annotation is number one, you make your thinking visible to your teacher. So that helps me know, what did you think about when you read? Did you ask questions? Did you make connections? Um, did you try to make some inferences about deeper meanings? And then the second thing it does is it helps you read more deeply, which will increase your reading comprehension for complex texts over time. A major focus of your year next year as a junior will be reading extremely complex texts. So, this is a way to prepare for that next year in your English class. So, Mr. Yukonovich and I put together an annotation guide that I'm going to walk you through in this video. This is linked into our classroom under resources. It's also in our classroom on each of the walls, and it's linked into today's lesson. So it's called the Jamboard English 10 Annotation Guide, but this annotation system could be done with pen and paper as well. We're just going to use it with Jamboard to practice it in a way that I can easily access your work. So as you go through these slides, you'll see that there are a mention, or there is a mention, I should say, of when you should be completing each step. So our first step you want to complete before you read. So before you even get into a text, you should be doing these things. Previewing it, so just looking at how long it is, what's the title, who's the author, when was it written, how dense is it? Is this a poem? Is this written in paragraph form or prose? And then you can ask yourself, what is this? Is this an article? Is this an academic essay? Is it a legal document? Once you get into your first read, you can really start to identify what you understand and what you're thinking by just making small marks. So, boxing some words you don't know, highlighting the main idea of each paragraph. When you're highlighting, less is more. Sometimes multiple paragraphs, for example, in a news article where paragraphs are short, will all be about the same idea. So we really want to highlight less and do deep thinking about what is really the main idea or the biggest idea. Then you'll be underlining key terms. So especially as you get into poetry, you want to think of, like, what are the nouns, some names, places, things that you can connect to that are concrete. That includes like dates and vocabulary. You could draw an exclamation point by areas of interest or surprise, or a question mark by areas where you're confused. On your next reading, this should be the second time you're going through. You might not read the whole thing, but you're scanning back. So this is where you're asking some deeper questions, making brackets or boxes to chunk your text. You should be trying to paraphrase or make a little bit of a comment on what is the main idea of this bracket. So if there were 4 paragraphs all about the same idea, what is the claim that the author is making? And then you could also start to note, do you agree or disagree with this? Finally, scanning back again. This is where you start to look for how you're going to use this text. We're not going to read stuff that we're not going to use. So every time you read a text, you know, there's something I'm supposed to do with this. And this is where you want to identify some evidence. So drawing a star next to some evidence that could support your claim, that you could include in your writing, and that maybe responds to the writing prompt. Finally, then, on your last read, you want to reflect. What did I read? Do I agree or disagree? Was it engaging? What are connections I can make? And those are your final margin notes. And that's another place you're showing some deep analysis. This is something we'll practice over and over, because this is a skill you really can practice through your whole education. Thank you for watching.